What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for a new daily news extra because it needs to be an extra because a lot of things happen yesterday or this evening, basically. A lot of strange things happen. A lot of strange news came out. I will say a lot of strange news came out. Very confusing news, but we need to discuss it as we always do. Yeah, sit down, hold tight because it's gonna be a very strange ride in this news video. Before I delve into the main topic, and it's Lukaku, obviously, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification, and let's go. Okay, so the big news story is Romelu Lukaku. I will lay out the news first, and then we will discuss it. So the news comes first, like it came first from Di Marzio and Romano. Kind of adjusted it a little bit. Now, in a nutshell, the situation, according to both sources, is that Lukaku wants to join Inter, and he was pushing for that move. Inter was trying to find an agreement with Chelsea, and they were very close, basically, to get it done for 35 plus 5 million euros. However, the moment they were trying to submit that bid, Lukaku stopped responding, or his agent, he's not responding to teammates and all those things. And the reason is apparently, or one of the reasons is that he has been talking with Juve and he's kind of opening up to the idea of joining Juve. And to top it a little bit off, Juve offered 37 million and a half plus 2.5. So more money up front and less in bonuses. But it's all linked to Vlahovic leaving before the 4th of August. That's basically the story in a nutshell, basically. So you can look at this story from different angles. I will start off with the Lukaku angle as first, and I cannot explain what his angle is. Like, I have no idea what is. If this is true, and I'm going off the, I'm going off that, of the fact that this report is true for this perspective from Lukaku. I cannot explain what he's thinking. He wants to join Inter. He pushed for it last season. He was pushing for it now. Inzaghi loves him. The fans, or like most of the fan base, still love him. It makes absolutely no sense. For what you've said about Juve, from what Juve fans think about it, I have no idea how he thinks this is going to be a good match. I have no idea how he is sitting there and thinking, this can be great. I'm actually looking forward to it. No Europe whatsoever. Like, all these things, like, I don't think that's a big difference, but like, it's still no Champions League. All these things, from his perspective, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. From Chelsea's point of view, it also makes no sense, unless Inter's bid was never submitted and they are trying to put pressure on Inter and they're putting that story out there. But the fact that Di Marzio and Romano are saying that he's not responding to Inter at this moment in time, I don't think that's Chelsea. Like, Chelsea cannot make him not respond to Inter, basically. So I don't know what the angle. Like, I don't think Chelsea have a real angle at this point because they want to sell now. They're not gonna wait on Juve as well for a extra 2 million and a half up front. They're like that. You can do that in Italy. In England, they will wipe their butts with that 2.5 million. They don't care. So that's, like, Chelsea is not winning in this situation as well. Inter have also no benefit in putting that news out there as well because they want him, and apparently they found out that he's talking to Juve, or he talked with Juve, and he's kind of open, and now they're pissed off. Also, Di Marzio added that Inter are actually thinking about just walking away from that deal, which I kind of struggle to believe as well, because that's how like, if you're gonna walk away from a player who's in talks with your rival, you're not gonna sign a lot of players. It is what it is. But it's a very surreal situation. I still believe it's gonna be Inter, because I don't see him playing for us. I don't want him, by the way. I will say that as well. I don't want him. I don't rate him. I said it many times. On the big occasions, he is meme material. Like, it's actually at one point it's not even funny anymore. It's funny because it was happening to Inter, but like from personal level, like it's actually sad, to a certain point. I just don't like his character. Like a person, like he's not somebody I can like, because he's always fighting the media for some weird reason, saying he gets disrespected and all those things. But he is putting himself on such a big pedestal that if you do that, the media is gonna hold you up to it. And if you do not live up to what you think you are, the media is gonna have a fun day. They're gonna run with that type of news, so you cannot complain because you did not live up to uh, him saying I'm one of the best strikers in the world. So you're putting yourself in that situation, and then you're gonna complain for being in that situation. I don't like him. I absolutely don't like. I don't hate a person, but I do not like him as a player, as a person. Like, it just he's not a person I can like. He's not a person I will. It's easy to root for, in my opinion. Like, if he joins, like, I want to win, but it's gonna be very strange. I just don't like him as a player. Technically, everything. Wow. Now for Allegri, perfect, perfect fit. We tried to sign him and we tried to move on Dybala a couple of years ago. It didn't happen back then. It's a perfect fit for Allegri. I'm not gonna argue that, because that's the only point that makes sense for Allegri. He's perfect, but I don't really care. I absolutely don't care because you cannot sign him when I personally think as well that Allegri is not gonna make it throughout his contract. At one point, it will be that bad, and you're stuck with Lukaku as well. Like, if you're gonna pay 40 million euros, there's no sell-on value. That money is gone. It's like Higuain. That money is completely gone, unless in 2 years' time the Saudis comes in and he's like, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, and you get some money back. Other than that, it's that money you're never gonna get back, and that as well makes no sense for us. You know, it just makes absolutely no sense. But let's see how that will develop. I'm gonna say I don't believe anything from it. Like, it could be true, but like the whole story in general, like the whole package, I think it has too many holes in it, and I think somebody is playing a game here. Let me know in the comments what you think, because I that's what I believe, and I don't think he's gonna end up with us. I don't, Now, I can wake up today basically because it's midnight, and this video can be outdated, and PSG could have made a bid for Vlahovic because Romano said Chelsea are not in. The only team in for Vlahovic at the moment are PSG. There have been talks, but no bid. But that can be really quickly. If PSG wake up and they bid 75 plus 5 or 70 plus that much, that deal will be closed really quickly because the club is open to sell. Vlahovic doesn't really want to leave, but he has settled with the idea of okay, if an offer comes in, the club, the situation is what it is. I will accept it. It's sad because he wants to play for the club. He's a fan of the club. This is not how it should be ending. It actually kind of breaks my heart out at a certain point because I think he will come good, Vlahovic, because I believe in him. But that deal can move really quickly, and then who knows? Who knows if then this can be proven if it's right. If Vlahovic gets moved on really quickly, then we know if this is bullshit or not. Because let's say we wake up on Monday, and it's done. Vlahovic is going to PSG. If this is true, the club will close that Lukaku deal as well really quickly because Chelsea is open to sell. They will not hesitate. If he wants to join, it's really quickly done. So keep an eye on it, I guess. But I just don't believe. I just don't see it happening. Like it's surreal. That's surreal. But move on. Let's move on to another striker news, and that's from Romano, and he's talking about this Leipzig player, Okafor. Milan, Juve, Lazio are all looking at the player, especially Milan and Lazio as well. We are just asked to be kept informed on the situation. I'm not gonna lie, I've not watched a single minute of this player, so I cannot say anything. I was on a live show and people in the chat were saying he's injury prone. That's also the first thing I saw when I open social media. Other than that, I have absolutely no news on him, um, and so I cannot really go into details as like who he is as a player, what he can offer, what he can do for us, and I just don't. These type of deals makes more sense. Um, um, if we had a big player already, because he's apparently very unknown, like he's still very raw and all those things. But these are the type of deals I think we will see more with Juntili as well. But I have no info on him. Like I'm not gonna lie on the camera. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. But apparently Milan are really pushing for him. So let's see how that will develop. Now the other news is linked to Bonucci. I talked about Bonucci. We all talked about Bonucci. We need a center back because Bonucci needs to leave. Hopefully, we'll accept it. If not, the club should make it clear you're not going to be part. You're going to sit out all season. We need a defender. Are we going to buy one? At this moment in time, I don't have a feeling we are. That can change. But the winter is apparently a good option, according to Mirko Di Natale. There have been rumors, especially also here in Belgium, that he's not really listening to loan moves and all those things because Belgium teams are looking at him. Ajax are looking at him. He wants to stay at the club. He wants to go on preseason tour, and he wants to prove himself at the club. And that's what Mirko Di Natale is suggesting. He said Everton and Lille are following Connie de Winter. The two clubs have inquired about the situation and will be ready to possibly deepen the talks. But at this moment, Juve are thinking about keeping and not consider him in the list of departures. He had a brilliant season at Empoli. He picked up an injury towards the end, sadly enough. Allegri is a big fan of him, and that could be the determinant factor, basically. Now, the big question is, do you believe Allegri will go into the season with Bremer, Gatti, and Connie de Winter? Because if that's the case, it's going to be a 3-5-2, and he's going to shoehorn Danilo and Alexandro in a lot of the starting lineups. And that's not what I want to see. Unless I've been completely wrong and he trusts Gatti and Connie de Winter blindly, and he's going to sit in the back four and he's going to tell Connie de Winter and Gatti, you guys are going to be the main guys alongside Bremer. And I will be surprised. Positively, yes. But as of now, I don't see it. I think he has chances to stay because if cash is low and you need to replace Bonucci, then yeah, he is an option. He played Serie A. He played for the club already. He's much appreciated by Allegri. If you have no money, this makes a lot of sense, But let's see how that will develop. Again, the news can be this. It can change really quickly. Like after preseason, the club can be no, and he's gone. You know how these things go. But as of now, he's not for sale, and he will get his chance in preseason. Let's move on to Arthur, because the Fiorentina thing is moving on really quickly, basically. According to Di Marzio, he says Fiorentina and Arthur are edging closer to a loan agreement, including an option to buy, as Juve has agreed to contribute towards a portion of the player's wage. No surprise here. There were no offers or no real teams in for him. I've always said that it's going to be a loan and we're going to pay part of the wage. And it's going to be like that. I think he's on 6.5. We'll probably pay half of that. We shouldn't be paying more than half of that. But that's the situation. It's difficult to sell on these players. It's really difficult, and we're gonna pay wages. I don't like it's gonna be a loan. I don't think they're gonna buy him, even if he does well. It's just to move it on to next season, and then he will have a lower kind of cap hit on the balance on the books, and maybe you will have a cheaper offer like 50 million, and the club will accept it next season. It will be one of those because he didn't play last season. He's on big wages. No team wants that. Like we as fans as well, we need to be honest. Like that's not gonna happen. But let's move on to another midfielder, Zakaria. And actually, while I'm speaking, Di Marzio gave an update. This is from Di Marzio. He's saying the deal is progressing in small steps. West Ham have offered 30 million euros. David Moyes said we're not signing any midfielders unless the Declan Rice deal is official, and that's not being official. A couple of minutes ago, while I'm recording this, Di Marzio gave an update on Zakaria, and he said there's still talks about that deal, But he added the player wants to think about it before accepting, and also West Ham um, needs to raise their first offer. I think Monday Mirko Di Natale said like it's close, or it's not that far away and all those things, because apparently according to him West Ham offered 20 million euros loan option. Juve wanted 25 obligation, and I came on and I said that's not even close. That's different planets. Like less money, loan plus option, more money, obligation. It's not even close. So the moment that news report came out, I said that's not true. That cannot be true. According to Di Marzio's 30 million, that's ridiculous. It needs to be much higher than that. But apparently now the player is not 100% willing, or not 100% sure or eager to accept that deal really quickly. So again, a player we need to move on because we need to sell, and it's really moving really, really slowly. The positive is at least he has an option to join. Arthur as well now on loan. McKennie has no offers, and he's still hanging around on a separate training pitch as we speak. But that's a Zakaria situation. It's moving on, but it's moving at a ridiculous pace, basically. So. Excuse me. Let's see how that will develop. I think he will be sold at the end, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be West Ham at this point, because this is I don't know, like from the early moments that news came out, and it felt like, oh, it's getting done really quickly, to this now. I have a few doubts. I'm not gonna lie. Let's move on to the Franck Kessié story, because that came out as well from Di Marzio, that we kind of contacted Barcelona to see what's a possibility. If we sell a big hitter, we can go for Kessié. The big hitter probably going to be Pogba if it happens. Spanish outlets came out that Barcelona were 25. I actually laughed out loud when I saw that. They got him on a free, never played him, basically, and they now want 25 million. They're not going to get 25 million unless a Saudi team is going to buy him. We should not be in for Kessié. I don't want to bore you with the reasons why we shouldn't be in for Kessié, but that's not a player we should be looking for. And especially not for that money. So I'm not gonna waste any time on it now. The last bit of news is Pavar, because according to German sources, Man City are in the race, but so are Juve and Man U. If Man City are in the race, there is no race. I will say that, because they're gonna need to replace Kyle Walker, who is apparently going to Bayern. So it's not an option for us. I've always said I will take Pavar, also because he fills a position and we need. I'm not that high on Pavar, but he wants and he can play center back, and that will be an ideal situation for Allegri and our current situation as well, just squad building wise. They want 30 million euros. We're not going to pay 30 million euros. If Man City are in, that's kind of a non-news story. But he's been mentioned at the start of the window as well. Name came up again, so I mentioned it, but that's it. The main story, or the main point of this video, obviously Lukaku. Let me know in the comments what you think about that news story, that situation, and how you believe it's gonna develop and end. Thanks everyone for watching. I will be live on Sunday, so tune in on Sunday, and yeah, like the video. See you.